What's up, fam? It's Caden here with Black Finance, and today we're going to talk about Dave Ramsey Baby Steps and the changes that my wife and I have made to it to fit our lifestyle. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified of new things.
I'm living my best life. Ain't going back and forth.
Before I go into baby step number 1 and explain that in detail, a lot of people have asked me what type of programs I've done in order to be more financially stable and pay off our debt. And I've always kind of responded with, I didn't really do any real programs, but that's not true. I've done a ton of research watching YouTube videos similar to this one. And one person that I always love watching is Dave Ramsey. We watch his financial peace classes and just about everything that he has to say. You know, my wife talks about how on every road trip I would make us watch Dave Ramsey videos, and I honestly think she began to like it after a while. That's what I think. And so Dave Ramsey Baby Steps. I'm going to go over all 7 baby steps really briefly and then break them down one by one in different videos. And so baby step number 1, that is to start a beginner's emergency fund. So Dave Ramsey recommends that you start with $1,000. Baby step number 2, that is to pay off all your debts using the debt snowball method. I'll break that down when I explain it in the video. Baby step number 3 is to get back into your emergency fund and actually completely finish that out. Baby step number 4, that is to, after you completed saving for your emergency fund, then you want to save 15% of your income. Baby step number 5 is saving for your child's college fund. Baby step number 6, that entails paying your house off early. And there's some debate on if you should or shouldn't do that, but I'll talk about that when I go through that baby step. And baby step number 7 is to build wealth and give. What a beautiful place to be. And so, all right, back to baby step number 1. So like I mentioned, baby step number 1 entails saving $1,000 for your beginner's emergency fund. And part of the ideology behind it is if you don't have that beginner's emergency fund, when an emergency comes up, you will totally forget this whole plan and your strategy that you're using to save debt, and then use credit cards, which we know is probably the one thing that keeps everyone poor. And so to avoid going back into using credit cards, you will have an $1,000 starter emergency fund in case of emergencies. And that's very specific because a lot of people take their savings and do whatever they want with it, which is fine, it's your savings. But an emergency fund is for emergencies. So your car got a flat tire, that's an emergency. And I talk about saving for emergency funds, so I'll put a link of another video that I did about saving for emergency funds somewhere. But so that's baby step number 1, saving $1,000 for your beginner's emergency fund. I live in Boston, Massachusetts, so my wife and I decided that we weren't honestly comfortable just saving $1,000, and I know that's part of kind of the behavior thing that Dave is trying to get at, but we weren't comfortable just having $1,000 saved up, and so we decided to save at least 1 month's rent before we really jumped into baby step number 2 aggressively. And so that's a quick change that we made. Rent in Boston is very expensive, and so we wanted to make sure that we can at least cover 1 month's rent if any emergency or if anything happened. And so that's the change that we made. And honestly, we've changed just about every single baby step slightly to fit our lives, and I'll be talking about those in further videos. Okay, as I always say, love you, and remember, live your best life.
I'm living